Hello and welcome to my forest garden project, end of March 2021. It's definitely spring. We've been having a lot of cold winds, but today is a nice warm sunny day. Lots of the plants are waking up, putting on their green leaves. The bee hedge is greening up. We don't have any flowers on here yet, but there's lots of growth. I think there's just one plant that we're not sure survived, but all the rest have, so that's great. Very pleased to see one of the newest additions budding. This is a Williams pear. I've managed to bark mulch this area again, all except the front, and that's because this front part is one of the wildflower patches in the garden, and some of the wildflowers are quite small and delicate, so they can't get through the big pieces of bark, so there's finer pieces there. And as I walk round, you'll see spots of colour, and I've made markers for the perennials because it's very hard to see where they are until they come up, and I don't want to disturb them by putting something else in. This one is a Chinese artichoke or Cosney. Walk across here. And here we have Babington leeks. So they're leeks that you don't pull the whole plant up, you just cut them off, eat the tops, and they should spread over the whole of here in a couple of years. The jostaberries are looking very strong. In fact, all the currant bushes are doing really well. Here's a currant bush that was just from a cutting, just stuck in the ground. Come up very well. Daffodils under the apple tree. Nice splash of colour. We have some rhubarb coming up. It's funny, this rhubarb, it looks really healthy. It grows for a few weeks and then it just dies off. I don't think it's got the depth of soil, but it's coming up. We've also got a crop of nettles coming up, so I'll be picking them for soup stews and making nettle and mint drink, which is nice hot or cold. I put loads of bulbs, hundreds of bulbs in the autumn. Don't remember where, but some of them are starting to come up. There's a little group here. I have a lovely patch of wild strawberries spreading here under the raspberry canes. The elders are looking good, and so is the bamboo at the back. It's not edible bamboo though. Let's just pop into the polytunnel, see what's going on in here. There's lots of kale growing. There's beetroot up there as well. And we have some onions here. So we have some onions in the polytunnel. We have some onions in the house in pots. And some are going straight in the ground. We'll see if it makes a difference. And I did plant one of the kales out into the garden. It's looking really strong and healthy despite us having cold nights and some frosts. So that's great. That means I can start putting more out. The rhubarb in the high rise is looking strong too. Perhaps I'll have more luck with this one. I do hope so. Another wildflower patch here, and it has some bulbs coming up too, so it's going to look very pretty. A wonderful crop of daylilies, almost big enough for me to pick some of the shoots to saute in a little butter and herbs and seasoning. Looking forward to that. I have found it difficult this month. The beginning of the month we had some sunny days, so tempting to come out, start planting things, but it's way too cold here. I have to be patient. So in the meantime, I've been making some art for the garden. And some of the art for the garden has been made by nature. This one's fallen down. I'll have to put it back up again. Beautiful pieces of wood that I've just varnished, and that's just by the autumn olive, which is looking very strong. And here's another marker for the walking onions. My shadow's getting in the way a little bit today. I've finished mulching the whole of this. Started the pathway down there. Some of this will always be pathways rather than planted. And green gage tree. This is where the Jerusalem artichoke lives. There's the quince. Very happy to see it's not decided to flower yet. It's a little bit too soon. I planted some strawberries in the high rise. They're happy because they don't mind the frost. I have some French sorrel. I do like these markers. They are nice and bright. And they will be very useful because a lot of the perennials obviously aren't up yet, and I know that I had a lovage here, but where? I'm not quite sure. So having the stone there will mean that I won't disturb the area until that plant starts coming up. Also I've marked wild carrot. Now we have these plants all over the garden, so and they are edible. It wasn't until this winter that I've really looked into them to discover if they were wild carrot. And when they've got their leaves and when they've got their flowers later on in the year, I'll show you how to safely identify them. The black currants are looking good. This one especially, this one's very, very happy this year. So you can see this pathway needs finishing, and I need to put some mulch over the rest of this patch as well. This was the first patch I did around here by the herbs, so it needs refreshing. The pond's looking good, looking very pretty, our little pond. Some daylilies and bulbs coming up there. Another one of these beautiful pieces of wood. Natural art, I love it. Hopefully the toads that we had in the garden will come back to the pond this year. We'll have to wait and see. The garlic's growing nicely in the tyres again. I have the skirrets marked over there. Our little cherry tree is budding. And we're very happy that quite a few of the plants that we chose, they're not perennials, they're not edible. I mean, they are perennials, they're not edible, but they're great ground cover, and these are really strong. And at the moment, of course, we're using the bark as a ground cover as well as a mulch because it breaks down slowly. But eventually we'll have a lot more plants And then we won't need so much bark, we'll just have bark as pathways through. And that's it. So have a great month, and I'll see you at the end of April.